What do you think this supply cut does for the prices, Bob? Because that's essential. At the end of the day, that's the driving factor.
You know, you're absolutely right. So near term, we're up 6-7%. We think it certainly puts upward pressure on prices in the coming weeks. But this is really about the second half. They were very clear here. They said these cuts that go into effect in May last through December. This is about the second half. We see one of two scenarios, and it comes down to demand. If you believe, as the OPEC balances do say, and the IEA balances and other balances show, that demand's going to rebound in the second half of this year, and you believe that sanctions are going to hurt Russian production, then these cuts, if they stick with them, are going to super tighten the market. They would send oil prices well above $100 a barrel. However, there's enormous risk, enormous downside risk. If you believe demand's about to decelerate because of the macro financial problems, and Russia perhaps is going to be more resilient to sanctions, then this cut will keep a floor around $70 to $80. Reasonable people could argue either way. There's an enormous uncertainty.
Right, but the IEA, I remember earlier on this year, came out with a report suggesting that there would be, a supply deficit, so to speak, in the second half of this year, that either ways the equation would be more skewed in favor of a shortage in supply versus excessive demand. And so I do want to get your sense in on how consumer nations like India and China would respond, because obviously while they are buying cheaper oil from Russia, a major source of supply are the key OPEC members, Saudi Arabia and the likes.
You're absolutely right. Going into this weekend, if you're India and you're looking at the IEA balances for the second half of the year, you're already seeing large deficits. Now OPEC Plus has just added another 1.2 million, maybe 1.6 million, depending on Russia, to that amount. So if you're a consuming, importing nation, you have a lot more concern now after this cut. The OPEC Plus producers are watching their downside. They have downside risk. Consumers have upside risk. And today was all about protecting the downside. So there's going to be a lot of worry, I think, a lot of poring over numbers and head scratching about what the impact will be on the second half balances and prices.